Hello everyone, I am Rana Priya. I am the founder of Dogspot.in, and at Dogspot we do a live session on Facebook almost every day. We have done more than 100 live sessions till now, and today we are going to talk about dentition in dogs, about teeth, tooth, and also about the heads of the dogs. So we will wait for some people to join in, say hello guys to us in the comment section so that we know that we are live. So waiting for some more people to join in, and also waiting for people to say something in the comments so that we know that we are there. Hi Shrishti, how are you? So I am just setting the studio up. This is a detailed insight into dog dentition. I have with me Mr. Shharat Sharma. Mr. Sharma has been my mentor when it comes to understanding of dogs, and he happens to be a Kennel Club of India international judge, and he has been judging internationally for all types of dog shows. He has got he's an ex-IAS. He has also done some other sessions with us. For example, there was a very interesting session on Indian dog breeds, which Mr. Sharma has done, and then on beagle as a breed. And we have also spoken about dog movement. And why dentition becomes a very important subject is because when we see a puppy, we can actually tell the quality of the puppy by looking at the teeth. And this has been happening from a very, very long time. And when we go to villages, people generally see the dentature and say that, okay, ये dog बहुत अच्छा है, या ये बहुत अच्छा निकलेगा, इसके दांत बहुत अच्छे हैं, दांत पूरे आ गए हैं, so you can do the age of the dog by looking at how many teeth are there. So it becomes very, very important, especially for people who are actually going and getting a puppy and wanting to, figure out that is this a very good puppy. One thing to look at is dentition. If the breeder is breeding any puppy and they know that what are the defaults in the puppy, if they look at the dentition, they will actually not breed a dog which has got a wrong dentition. That is one of the most common things to check. And I will say hello to a couple of people so that we have more people joining in. We've got David here. Hi, David. Do you know David?
Yes, I know David very well. Hello, David. David hosted me when I judged in Bhubaneswar many, many years.
I think David and
Siddharth.
No, David, you, me, Weasel, everybody together, we went to
see the Sun Temple, Kunak.
Not the Sun Temple.
Which
the
one?
Other temple. Puri.
Puri.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to Puri.
Yes. So David.
Yeah. David accompanied.
Yeah, he's got golden retrievers. No, Dobermans. Sorry. So we have Sandeep here saying hello. He's my cousin.
Hi, Sandeep.
Shishti is saying good to see you too. Good evening, sir. Meera, how are you? Hi, Bettina. How are you? Anyway, so we will, start talking about it. While I have done some very casual introduction, I'm handing over it to Mr. Sharma on speaking about just a background about dentition, and then we'll take a deep dive. Please introduce the subject, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lovely to be back on the live session with Dogspot. It's an interesting topic, Rana, that we've picked today. Particularly this discussion on dentition. One thing I'd like to say is that whenever we start talking about dentition, it goes hand in hand with the shape of the head that a particular breed has. So our viewers will constantly see me referring to the shape of the head when we talk about which is the correct type of dentition for a particular breed. But it's good that you pointed out initially two things I would like to say. the quality of the puppy and how healthy and how old the puppy is can all be determined by a simple look at the condition of his mouth. The dentition, the age of the teeth, the kind of teeth, how healthy they are, everything will tell you about the general health of the puppy. So when a pet parent goes to pick up a puppy, apart from the eyes, the odor from the puppy, the general health, one must also look at how healthy the gums are and how healthy the dentition is, because that is the easiest sign to see what the age of the puppy is and how well it has been kept. And the second thing is, that when we start discussing in detail, we'll also cover some interesting topics on dental care, as well as problems that are genetically associated with teeth in dogs. So I think we've got a sizable number of viewers who have joined us now, so we can start going into the topic one by one, and then let's see how it progresses.
Yeah. So we will first of all cover the permanent dentition, and this is how the dentition of the dog looks like. And over to you, sir. How do we?
I'll explain. In human beings, we all know that we have 32 permanent teeth. In dogs, we have 42. So there is a basic structural difference between the dentition of the humans and the canines. We are talking of 42 permanent teeth in the dogs. There are 20 in the upper jaw, and there are 22 in the lower jaw. And if you have a look at this, it defines the basic types of teeth that are found in a dog's jaw. And let's start from the back of the mouth towards the end of the jaw. You'll see what we call the molars. These molars are positioned right at the end of the jaw, and there are 4 molars in the upper jaw and 6 molars in the lower jaw, and they are used basically for grinding and crushing food. Now, we all know that the dog's metabolism and the dog's digestive system is different from ours. So when you feed kibble, it doesn't have to be crushed or ground into a paste like our own food is before it is taken in. So the molars in the dog will only crush it to a particular small size, not into a paste like our food. As children, we are taught to keep chewing till the food becomes a paste, and the saliva then helps to ingest it and digest it, but not in dogs. So these 4 molars on the top and 6 at the bottom are used for grinding and crushing of food. Moving ahead towards the front.
Sir, also would like to, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
Would like to also add that, unlike human beings, dogs do not have amylase as an enzyme. So the paste formation does not happen just because there is no amylase. Plus, molars are not very well developed.
Exactly.
And then there are no cheeks to hold it and roll it around.
No, but there are. That's a good point. When you look at some of the brachycephalic breeds, which have different type of heads, which are stronger here, or you look at the zygomatic arch. Now, some of the breeds have a very strong zygomatic arch. I will come to that when we discuss the shape of the head. They have strength of cheek, but still the function of the molars is not to grind it into paste, and amylase is one of the contributors. Absolutely, you're right.
Okay, so then we will talk about premolars, sir.
Okay, so when we move from the back of the jaw towards the front of the jaw, we get the smaller version of the molars. They are not as flat. They are slightly more pointed, like a little hill. You see, if you go to the back, you'll see that the molars are flatter. When you come to the premolars, they are a little more in the shape of a hill. And you have 8 premolars in the upper jaw and 8 premolars in the lower jaw. This is a unidimensional picture, ladies and gentlemen. So we are showing you 4 on each side. So it's actually 8 in the upper jaw and 8 in the lower jaw. And when you look at this, the function of the molar, also the premolar, because of the shape of the tooth, it is used for tearing. It is used for tearing the food that is being presented to the dog. So a very important part of the entire digestive process. whether you're feeding fresh food, whether you're feeding meat, or whether you're feeding kibble, it needs to be broken down and torn before it goes back to the molars to be ground. So the function of the premolars is basically for tearing the food and making it ready for digestion. And we have, as I said, 8 in the upper jaw and 8 in the lower jaw. So a lot of function of chewing and tearing is being performed by the premolars.
So the next one is canine, and we see the most pointed teeth. I think those are the canines on the side.
This is the tooth that defines the entire genus. We are talking of dogs who belong to who are called canines, and they are called canines only because of these teeth.
Okay.
So if you remove the canines from a dog, it's not a canine anymore.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that both felines and canines have canines.
Okay.
So even cats, the larger cats, the smaller cats, they have the same 4 canines.
Okay.
The only difference is that they are about 2 inches long in a tiger, and they are about half an inch to quarter of an inch long in a large dog.
Right.
But the position is right in the front. We are often also, you show a dog which has got a little bit angry and it's got its jaw wide open. You call them fangs. So these long pointed knife-like teeth are called the canines, and there are 4, 2 in the upper jaw and 2 in the lower jaw. And the fitment of these over each other is very, very important to determine the quality of the dog's mouth. So the purpose of this canine, it's a very strong tooth. It's perhaps the strongest tooth in the entire dog's mouth. And the purpose of it is to hold or grab a piece of food or an object, or puncture a piece of food or an object, and then tear it. So this is the tooth that will be used when it's holding on to something, or when it's tearing a piece of meat, or it's puncturing. And that is why it's long, it's strong at the base, the root is broad, it tapers like a saber, and it's pointed and sharp. So that's the purpose of the canine.
And then we have got incisors, 6 incisors, 3 on the upper.
6 on the lower jaw,
6
on the upper jaw, 3 on each side.
3 on each side.
Now this is the tooth which you see most often. You see the canine and you see the incisors. Incisors is small teeth you will see right in the front of the mouth, and they are in a line. There are 6 in the lower jaw, 6 on the upper jaw, and the fitment of these incisors with relation to each other, number 1 comes from the shape of the head, and number 2 determines what kind of bite we refer to in the particular breed of dog. So these incisors are basically used for nibbling. They'll nibble at things, they'll chew at things, and they are also the culprits when your dog is chewing on its own tail or chewing on its own coat and causing itself scratching when it's itchy. So these are the teeth which are the naughty teeth, and they cause a lot of problems, but they are very important for nibbling and for its own coat cleaning. And we'll talk about their placement vis-a-vis each other once we discuss this further.
Yeah. So, sir, I would like to speak about the bites a little bit.
Yeah.
That how many types of bites are there.
Yeah.
And when we see a particular type of a breed.
Yeah.
Then what type of a bite. So the bite and the head go hand in hand, right?
Absolutely.
And so if the bite is correct, then the head shape will be most probably correct. Otherwise, if the bite is here and there, then the head, the whole jaw and the head and everything will.
Yes, it's a
will not be confirmed.
It's a sort of a cause and effect.
Right.
So the shape of the head will determine the shape of the bite and vice versa.
Right.
And in canines, in dogs, bite refers to 2 things. Bite, of course, refers to the way a dog bites you or bites its food, and it also refers to the placement of the teeth. and our discussion today is limited to the placement of teeth in a dog's mouth.
So should we talk about the bite first? How many types of bites? Like 4 types of bites. So we can start from Caesar bite.
Yes.
And then we can cover the 4 types of bites. And
absolutely. Then correlated to the breed and to the type of head that each breed has.
Yeah. So very quickly, we'll just go through the bites first, and then we will come to the head.
Okay. Right. Sounds good.
Cool. So this is Caesar bite, and
this is what is called, Rana, a scissor bite. A scissor bite, it is called because the placement of the teeth function like a scissor. Now you see, when you imagine a scissor, the 2 blades are kept so close to each other that whatever comes in between them gets cut.
Right.
So if you have a bad scissor, the blades will hit each other.
Right.
But if you have a good scissor, they'll be so close that they'll keep cutting. That is why it is called a scissor bite.
Okay.
So whenever you are discussing a dog's bite, please be assured that lower jaw of the dog is fixed. So the length of the upper jaw will determine what kind of bite it is.
Right.
Now you have, this diagram shows that the front incisors are overlapping the lower incisors but touching.
Right.
So I am rephrasing. The inside of the upper incisor touches the outside of the lower incisor when the mouth is closed. So this is it. This is the lower incisor. This and the upper incisor comes and closes. Now there's no gap. So if they move, they will tear like a scissor. That's why it's called a scissor bite.
Okay.
The inside of the upper is closing on the outside of the inner. That's the scissor bite. And most breeds that we have commonly kept as pets and for showing are supposed to have the scissor bite. We'll come to the ones which are not supposed to, but most breeds do.
This is the level bite.
Okay, this is something which is, to my mind, and I may be corrected, this is to my mind not natural. A level bite is something which is now gradually over a period of time coming to be accepted as something which is not either a perfect scissor or not a perfect reverse scissor. So it's unfortunate that, you know, we are now having to deal with the level bite, and standards across the world, whether it's the American Kennel Club or the UK or Australia or FCI, have started accepting this and have started including this in the type of bite that is acceptable in the standards, but it's not natural to my mind. So the level, as the name suggests, is very simple, is that the upper incisors come and fall flat on top of the lower incisor. So it's not a scissor, it's not reverse, it's flat one on top of the other. It's gradually being accepted in many breeds, but we find people who have had dogs that have had level bites, we find that there's a lot of corrosion, and the teeth, you know, the teeth get spoiled much faster in a level bite than they do in a scissor or a reverse, simply because of friction that the teeth keep falling on each other.
Yeah, sir. So the next one is the undershot bite. I think this is another very common bite.
Yes, it's very common. It's just it's very simple. The undershot bite, as I said, the lower jaw is fixed to determine whether the bite is level, scissor, undershot, or the next one which we'll come to. Undershot means when the under jaw is shot out of the upper jaw. So it's longer than the upper jaw. So what happens as a result of this is that the teeth in the lower jaw are beyond the teeth in the upper jaw. So this is the upper jaw and it's behind the lower jaw. So the lower jaw is outside. The distance between the upper jaw and the lower jaw differs from breed to breed, the ideal distance. But all undershot breeds have to have the lower jaw outside or longer than the upper jaw, and so when you open the mouth, the lower incisors are clearly visible and the upper incisors are behind them. They could be a very small distance of 2 millimeters. They could be half an inch away. They could be even more. So the distance is laid down in the standard, but that's what an undershot bite means. And shot here is S-H-O-T. You know, it's a common refrain when we say short, maybe we are referring to the length, so it's S-H-O-R-T. No, it is not. It is S-H-O-T. So undershot means the underjaw has shot out of the upper jaw.
Okay. So, sir, I also wanted to know is when we talk about undershot, so is there something called reverse scissor bite as well?
Yes, absolutely. Reverse scissor bite is a form of undershot, but it's prescribed or laid down in certain breeds, and it's an ideal situation. It's an ideal situation in your favorite breed, Rana. I know why you are asking me this question. It's the ideal situation in Lhasa. So unfortunately, the world over, even the most experienced Lhasa breeders are now finding it difficult to get good quality reverse scissor bites. Reverse scissor, ladies and gentlemen, is just the reverse of scissor. Scissor, I said, the lower jaw, the upper jaw comes and meets it. The inside of the upper is touching the outside of the lower, but it's scissor. Reverse scissor is just the reverse. So the inside of the lower is touching the outside of the upper. It's still a scissor, but it is a form of undershot, but it is ideal. It's reverse scissor. It's prescribed or laid down for certain breeds. Sadly, it is becoming,
Rare.
not rare, it's disappearing.
Disappearing. Okay.
And even now, if in a show you get a Lhasa Apso and you open the mouth and see a reverse scissor, your eyes pop up. Because it's like he's one half the battle.
Yeah.
What happens is that it gives the correct shape of the head.
Yeah.
It gives the strength of lower jaw.
Right.
It gives the roundness and strength of muscle, which we are missing. You won't get it if it's undershot. You won't get it if it's level. You will only get it if it's perfect reversal.
So, is there any bite which is not accepted in any breed at all?
Yes.
Any bite type?
Yes.
Which one is that?
Overshot.
Overshot. So, let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, this is how an overshot bite looks like. And yeah.
See, again, we go back to the word shot. Meaning the upper jaw has shot out, is out of proportion with the lower jaw. And so the front incisors, and often, ladies and gentlemen, in overshot, not only the front incisors, often even the canines go beyond the lower jaw. So what happens is it becomes dangerous because the canines start digging into the dog's own jaw, the lower one, and it is very painful and hurtful. So we have a situation in the overshot bite where the upper teeth and lower teeth have a gap in between. Now what is happening? The upper teeth can't hold on to anything. It's not serving any purpose of cutting because the scissor has gone. So the entire structure is becoming infructuous. It's not giving any purpose, serving any purpose for the dog as far as chewing, grinding, holding, puncturing, nibbling, any of the functions that we talked about, because there is so much of gap between the two. So the overshot bite is a complete no-no. And when you pick a puppy, my guide to it is, it's okay if the puppy is level. Ideally, the puppy should be picked when it's already a perfect scissor in the breeds that ask for a scissor. But it's okay if it is level. If it is overshot, marginally, and when I say marginally, I mean maybe 5% or 3% or 7%, in that range, it is still okay because it's the lower jaw that grows. and there is a possibility that the lower jaw grows and then the two teeth meet and it becomes a scissor bite, but avoidable beyond 5 to 7%. If it's a breed that describes a scissor and the puppy is undershot, it will never get okay. Please remember, it's the lower jaw that will grow. So if a puppy is undershot, but it is supposed to end up as scissor, do not pick that puppy, because that bite will not get corrected.
So a very interesting question, Dinkar is asking. There's a second question. We'll come to the first question later, Dinkar. That is also very interesting. Why is the Lhasa so meant to have a reverse scissor bite? Any utility purpose, just a standard set in style? So I think it's the lower jaw.
It's the strength of the lower jaw. Absolutely.
And why is it so needed in Lhasa?
What is the purpose of the breed? It's your breed. What is the purpose of the Lhasa?
To guard the monasteries at a very high altitude, so that they can survive at a very low oxygen level.
Low oxygen level.
They can also survive rays from the sun which are coming direct.
Absolutely.
UVs and
absolutely. So it is the closest in the utility or the companion group which is closest to the brachycephalic head. Now, its other cousins, the Pekingese, the Shih Tzu, have undershot bites.
Right.
And they don't live at that altitude. So the only purpose is to reduce that undershot and give it the purpose, because more brachycephalic the breed is, less its capacity to intake oxygen. So it has been created, bred after years and years, to bring it in perfect harmony with the altitude that it lives in, and not changing the shape of the head.
Right.
So when you are discussing these three breeds, the Shih Tzu, the Lhasa, the Tibetan Terrier, you will see that the difference is in the length of the muzzle.
Okay.
The Shih Tzu has the shortest of these three.
Okay.
When you measure the nose of a Shih Tzu, just put your finger. If it's wider than that, it's not an ideal Shih Tzu muzzle. And because the muzzle is short, it has more undershot.
Okay.
The Lhasa is slightly longer than the Shih Tzu. You can put two fingers flat, and that is why the undershot converts into a reverse scissor. The Tibetan Terrier has the longest of the three.
Right.
And therefore, it is neither undershot nor reverse scissor. It's a perfect slope.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Dinkar, for asking that. Another interesting question Dinkar is asking: by what age does the bite in the young dog become permanent? And can the lower and top jaws grow at different rates? And I think what I understand is it differs from breed to breed. For example, in Lhasa Apsos, we have seen the bite getting corrected or getting permanent. It takes about up to 8 months sometimes. And then there are breeds which you have been mentioning, pointer.
Yeah, English pointer.
English pointer. Yeah.
Nightmare.
Okay. How long does it take, sir?
No, first we'll answer the first part of Dinkar's question. Okay. You know, the deciduous teeth, Dinkar, every puppy, like a human baby, is born without teeth. And the deciduous teeth, that's the milk teeth, would settle in, would emerge or erupt from the gum at about 2.5 to 3 weeks of age. You'll start seeing the teeth emerge. And it has a full set by 12 weeks of deciduous teeth, 28 in number. From 12 to 16 weeks, the roots of these deciduous teeth will start weakening, and they'll either fall off, or the root will be reabsorbed, or you'll simply find a broken tooth on the bedding. And then the permanent teeth start coming in. So by the age of 4.5 months, all the permanent teeth should be firmly in place. Yes, the lower and upper jaw can grow at different rates. There is no doubt about it, but then that is a breed-specific thing, and we'll have to discuss various breeds to tell you which one will grow when. German Shepherds, for example, the upper jaw grows totally different speed than the lower jaw. So we have to go into, but basically your question is right, they can grow at different paces.
So we have been discussing about different bites, and we actually touched upon different types of skulls and head types. And now what we are going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, that we will take a dive into how the bites are connected with different types of heads. And it is a very interesting correlation. And so, yeah. Yes, sir. So one of the most primitive head types, and all the breeds which are very, very primitive actually lie into this category.
Yes.
And Borzoi, Collie, Whippet, Greyhound, Saluki, German Shepherds, and almost all Indian dog breeds except 2 or 3 of them. I think most of them lie under dolichocephalic head.
Dolichocephalic, yes.
Yes.
Dolichocephalic is basically the skull has 2 portions. It's got the foreface and the skull is used loosely in standards. So the portion from the stop to the occiput, that is the portion that we normally call the skull. And the length of the skull, the cephalic, is if the index is to be measured, the ratio between the length of the skull and the length of the foreface of the muscle is what determines whether the dog falls in one of these 3 categories. So it's the dolichocephalic head, which is longer head, simply put for common people like you and me. It's the longer head. So you look at breeds like the Whippet, its head is long. The Greyhound, the Saluki, the Rampur Hound, the Borzoi, and breeds like this. And basically, all these breeds which have the dolichocephalic heads, there is only one correct breed dentition type, and that is a scissor bite. So this is easy to follow as a thumb rule. The correct bite is the scissor bite for the dolichocephalic head. You will find them lean and long. You will find very little stop. You will find the muzzles long. The nose is pointed and outside the dentition, outside the front jaw. So that is how you describe it. And the only correct bite for this is the scissor bite.
Got it, sir. And then moving to mesocephalic.
Yeah, mesocephalic is between the first one, which is the dolichocephalic, and the third one, which we'll talk of later. This is our most common head type. Whether you're talking of all the setters, Irish setters, English setters, Gordon setters, all the retrievers, Labrador retriever, Golden retriever, flat-coated retriever, Chesapeake Bay retriever, all of them.
And why would all the sight hounds would have dolichocephalic head?
Dolichocephalic is very simple. It's a very nice question. Why would sight hounds have it? When you see the stop, it helps in the way the eyes are placed. So most of the sight hounds are looking at a distance and they are running at high speed. So they need aerodynamic heads to be running at high speed. Have you seen greyhound racing?
Yeah.
You see the speed at which they go.
Yeah.
You see the Salukis chasing in the desert.
Right.
You'll see the Arabs, and most of the sheikhs will have Saluki races and they'll go chasing the rabbit. So basically the shape is such that it is aerodynamic. Mm-hmm. And that is why they have no stop, long and lean heads, and they are able to see at a distance far. Mm-hmm. The mesocephalic is serving exactly the other purpose. Mm-hmm. It's meant to have stamina. It's meant to last much longer. It's not supposed to see far. It's supposed to see at a reasonable distance where it is hunting or retrieving. Hunting on ground, hunting or retrieving from water. Mm-hmm. So that is the purpose of the head, and that is why the eyes and head is made in such a manner that it, performs the function it is bred for.
Got it. we were actually explaining mesocephalic
So
and
mesocephalic is a head where the skull is broad. The ratio between the length of muzzle and the skull, the foreface and the skull, is totally different from the foreface ratios of the oligocephalic heads. And it's basically meant for dogs that are supposed to retrieve game, hold the bird in their mouth and bring it back. So they have a particular strength of jaw, they have a particular squareness of muzzle, and a particular width of skull. So that is why all these breeds that we are naming, you'll find that they have a particularly beautiful width of skull between the ears, and their cranial section is so shaped that they can perform this function.
got it, sir. Then we have
The brachycephalic.
brachycephalic, one of the most interesting head types.
Now, unfortunately, the world has also completely misunderstood this head type, and half knowledge is a dangerous thing, and many people feel that they are, genetically not proper, and there is, a lot of breathing issues and a lot of other heat issues which these breeds face, but there is no such scientific truth to that. We have had boxers and bulldogs and pugs and Pekingese and Boston Terriers who have lived and performed beautifully all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So that aside, yes, the brachycephalic, the entire group of dogs is where the length of the muzzle is virtually zero. So the entire head portion, the length of the muzzle ratio, the foreface ratio to the skull ratio is much in favor of the skull. They have very strong cheeks, very strong zygomatic arches, and that is what gives them the width. So you see a bulldog's head or a pug's head or a bull mastiff head, and you'll find that there is a lot of width in the head. So the only correct bite for the brachycephalic is undershot.
Okay.
As I said in the beginning of the session, the distance between the two teeth will differ from breed to breed. Pug will be different from Pekingese, it will be different from bull mastiff, it will be different from boxer. But only the undershot is the correct bite.
Right.
No overshots, no scissors, no reverse. Reverse scissor, yes, because it's undershot.
Okay. And sir, I have a question which I wanted to ask. Is there, any difference in the behavior of different types of head types? Like, you said that, borzoi, why borzoi will have, will not have a,
It's an interesting thing.
yeah. So is the behavior of different groups, like sight hounds, are very different in behavior than the gun dog?
Yes.
So is it related to head types, the behavior sets?
No, it's not related, but yes, there have been articles published in this, and breeders have penned down their experiences. If you see the brachycephalic dogs, whether it's the bulldog, they're or the boxer or the Boston Terrier, they're very happy with human company. They want to play the games that their human parents are playing.
Okay.
And so that is a trait that has come with the brachycephalic head. But they also get startled easily.
Okay.
If you do something which is irregular or there's a sudden bang or a sudden noise, they'll get startled easily.
Okay.
It's not proven, but these are theories that breeders have come up with at various places in the world. So that is a trait which has been associated. Similarly with hounds, like the dolichocephalic breeds, the borzois, the ramkurs, the mudholes, the salukis, they are a little aloof.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the traits that you can associate with the shape of the head.
Mm-hmm.
The mesocephalics are the darlings.
Mm-hmm.
The Labradors, the Goldens, the Cockers, they're always happy and always playing around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not entirely, but it's there.
Okay. So we have a question. Rushi is asking, I have seen that Labrador or Golden Retrievers have scissor bite at their age up to 24 to 30 months, but get level bite when they grow old. Have you seen that happening?
Should not be happening, Rushi. If it is happening, means that the dentition is not being properly cared for, or it is happening because the dog has been created for far too long, or it's in an iron cage and it's nibbling and breaking away its incisor. You see, the shape of the incisor is not entirely flat. It's a little bit of a curve. So if the tip of the incisor will break, it will finally fall flat on top of the lower incisor. So this is not a thing that should be happening. We have had perfect Labradors at 8 years, 9 years. I have judged Labradors at 10 years, and there was no such problem. So it's not that it's happening because it's genetic, it's happening because the dental care is not ideal.
So, sir, that brings us at the end of our live session. If you can very quickly talk about how the permanent dentature, just to summarize the whole discussion.
Yeah, so
and then we can bring it to that.
We had 3 types of heads.
Yeah.
Dolichocephalic, long, lean. Mesocephalic, broad, square. Brachycephalic, short muzzle, broad-edged bulldogs. We had 4 types of bites. We have the perfect bite, which is the scissor. We have the level. We have the undershot. One of the rare undershots is the reverse scissor, which is for the last abso. And the most unacceptable across the board is the overshot. And just for a minute, you know, there are certain cases where you'll find that the deciduous teeth have not entirely broken or disappeared when the permanent teeth come, and you'll find 2 teeth coming from the same spot. Please go to the veterinary doctor and have the deciduous tooth removed so that the permanent tooth stays at the correct place. And take good care. Oral hygiene is very important. Dog's teeth must be looked after, and particularly for tartar formation, for strong roots. And you will see in certain breeds that, you know, the gums start swelling and the incisors disappear, which is very natural, nothing to worry about. So I think that's it.
Any other defects which you would like to mention? So one defect we know, you know, the bite type is not
Another
correct.
defect I would like to mention is missing teeth.
Yeah.
Now, when the standard of a breed says that it should have 42 teeth and full dentition, and an exhibitor comes to me with missing molars or missing premolars and says, you know, it's now acceptable in America, a big deal. The standard still says it should be full dentition. So missing teeth is a problem.
So missing teeth is a genetic problem?
100%.
Okay.
Missing teeth is a genetic problem. Broken teeth is not a genetic.
Okay.
A dog gets into a fight, a dog bites at its iron cage and breaks it through. That's okay.
Okay.
But it's very different from a missing tooth.
Can these teeth be corrected? Any bite, any problems?
Yes,
Can
yes,
you say that
yes,
correction? Yeah, we just missed that point. Before we leave.
Lots of wiring, lots of, you know, braces have now come, and dog's dentition, particularly the expensive show dogs, is being corrected. But it should be smartly done. The judge's job is, if he finds traces of wiring or rubber or brace, he should disqualify the dog. So it's an offense. But if it is smartly done and everything is removed and the judge can't make out, then no.
But, you know, from the working point of view, you know, if the dog is too much undershot or overshot, and then we want to really do a correction, then somebody can go and visit the vet and can ask for that kind of a correction.
Yes.
Will it make any difference in the life of the dog?
No. It is very good if the bite is corrected, because as I said, it's basically the function of the teeth is how well the dog eats, how well the dog is able to digest.
Right.
So I have not heard of, you know, too much of overshot ever being corrected. But I have heard of, you know, where the incisors are misplaced or they are not correctly aligned, or the canines, you know, they are digging into the skin. I have heard of those.
Right.
But I do not know whether in India, at least, I don't know elsewhere in the world, I know that dog implants are also being done, but I don't know whether they are being done in India yet or not.
Got it. Thank you very much, sir, what about overlapping teeth? So,
overlapping teeth is generally a problem between milk teeth and permanent teeth, and if it is happening, you must have the milk tooth removed. If you let it be for too long, then because the permanent tooth is still soft in its root, it will get displaced and it will fall out of alignment. So please have the deciduous tooth removed so that the permanent tooth stays at the right place.
Like we do with our own.
Yeah, absolutely. We do with babies, and yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you everyone for watching us live. We are going to put a link in the comment section, wherein in case you want to get this presentation, you can get that presentation. In case you want to nominate somebody for our live session, please do nominate. So somebody from our team will put 2 links in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching us and giving us your time. Bye bye. See you again.
Bye. Thank you, Rana. Thank you, Dogspot.